Coming up, a call to action. We're asking for your help to protect the future of flight training.
And see what it's like to fly along with the AeroShell aerobatic team and living the dream flying off the farm in Ohio. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Warren Morningstar filling in for Alyssa Cobb.
We don't do this very often, but when we do, it's really important. We need you to contact your member of Congress now.
That's right. It's about the future of flight training, and just because you don't fly an experimental airplane doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you.
You know, it's really important that at the end of the day, you in your constituencies in that area around your airport speak out in your very own terms to your local congressman or woman or senator and let them know that you feel very strongly this is an important topic. They listen to you. You vote in that community. You matter. And that's why we're asking you to go out and be heard. It works. Last time we got our basic med done the very same way, by being heard at the local level.
If you're an AOPA member, you should have already received this email. If you missed it, please check your inbox again. That email will take you to this website, which will tell who your representatives are, their contact information, and some suggested language. But it's always better if you put it in your own words and tell them why the issue is important to you. If you didn't get Mark's email, you can go to our website where we'll give you the links to find the addresses for your senators and representatives.
Yeah, and you know, Tom, we can't emphasize enough how important it is to really put it in your own words. And if you know your member of Congress, remind them that you know them and that why you voted for them and why this is going to affect your vote in the future.
That's right. It really is important that we get the word out, get this changed, because as Mark said, it doesn't add anything to safety. And it really is a distraction from flight training. It causes a lot of confusion. The FAA said they're going to take as long as 4 years to get the rulemaking done to change it. And then with Congress, we can do it much faster.
We can get it done much faster. And as we said earlier, while you think this affects experimental aircraft right now, the way this thing is worded, it can come down to bite us in the future across the board.
Yeah, it could be a slippery slope.
It could be indeed. Well, speaking of slopes, we have a pretty impressive one behind us. We're not in Maryland anymore, Tom. So, why are we here?
Oh, well, great question. We are definitely not in Maryland. It is beautiful. We've got the Tetons behind us. We're in Driggs, Idaho, and we're out here with some aviation friends going to do some backcountry flying this weekend, and we'll be reporting on that later and coming up in some magazine articles and that sort of thing. So lots more to come on that. But, we've really seen backcountry flying take off, and it's really become a significant part of general aviation flying.
It has, but we have also been seeing some accidents coming out of backcountry flying, and that's one of the reasons why our own Richard McSpadden is here.
That's right. So I talked to Richard about what's going on in the backcountry, because he's been out here doing some flying, and what are some of the issues that pilots are facing. Backcountry flying has really become popular among a lot of people. However, there's been some challenges around some of the safety issues. And I know the Air Safety Institute and you personally have been involved in trying to get out there and remind people about some of the challenges. Tell me about that.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tom. It's a growing segment of GA, and we love that. It's bringing people into GA to do this kind of flying. The challenge is it's really demanding flying. So people are coming into flying and they're dealing with some of the most demanding circumstances, high density altitude, winds, one-way strips. Yeah. So all of those things can sometimes combine and get people in trouble. And that's what we're seeing. You're right. We put together a coalition to try to help people get the word out about, hey, come back here and have some fun, but be prepared.
Well, we just got a request from a fire department in Oregon, but what they're asking us to do really applies no matter where you fly. Colonel Paul Earhart of the Benton County Sheriff's Office asked us to ask you to watch out for fire starts. Now, you can report any fire that you see to Flight Service, ATC if you're using flight following or you're on an IFR flight plan, or a nearby tower. GPS coordinates are great if you've got them, but any sort of locator ID will do. Colonel Earhart says this already has, and it will continue to make a big difference.
Well, here's some good COVID news for a change. Canada is opening up the borders to us Yanks to come up and maybe go a little bit out and about, eh? But it's not quite as simple as you might think, and our government affairs team has plowed through all the requirements the Canadian government has tossed out there and boiled it down to 3 checklists. Checklist 1. Make sure you meet all of Canada's COVID requirements. They have extensive info on their website. Checklist 2. Know the border crossing requirements. Now, CanPass, that we've all gotten so used to using, has been suspended for now, so you can't use that. You need to arrange your arrival into a Canadian airport of entry. Again, our friends to the north have a website with all the airports of entry, but be careful. Just because an airport is on the list doesn't mean it's currently available for cross-border traffic. And checklist item 3, the usual stuff for flying into Canada, and then, of course, getting back into the United States, including all the AOPA information that's confusing for just about everybody. Now, we couldn't give you all the details, so be sure to check out our website for more information and all the details on how to fly into Canada these days. Hey, but while Canada is loosening up, the Bahamians, well, they're starting to clamp down again because of the Delta variant and all that's going on with COVID, and it's effective immediately. Fully vaccinated pilots and passengers will also have to show a negative COVID-19 test taken within 5 days of arrival to that island nation. You'll need to record that in a Bahamas travel health visa. More info at the URL there on the screen.
Well, there's a new top boss at the National Transportation Safety Board. On Monday, the Senate confirmed Jennifer Hamady as the chair of the NTSB. Hamady has been on the board since 2018. She previously worked on Capitol Hill as a legislative staffer handling transportation issues. Well, we're making progress, but there's still a very long ways to go. You know that only around 8% of pilots are women, according to Women in Aviation International. But this week, over a dozen women came to Frederick, Maryland for a week-long training camp. The goal was to give the women a chance to get together in a community and overcome the challenges and build confidence. AOPA Technical Editor Jill Tallman reports.
Naomi Wigley has big dreams for her future aviation career. She hopes to become a pilot in the military and then later a commercial airline pilot. She is the first in her family to pursue aviation.
It was very daunting, of the idea of going into a career that no one in my family has been in before, but I was willing to take on the challenge and try something new.
And to accomplish her goals, Naomi is at GIFT Academy this week. GIFT stands for Girls in Flight Training. The week-long camp has ground school and flight instruction for women working on a rating or a rusty pilot wanting to get back to flying. But the most important part of the week, mentorship.
It's been really fun, and it's been amazing meeting all these women here, and I've been really inspired seeing all these women in aviation, because it just tells me that if they can do it, I can do it.
Naomi and the other women here are taught and mentored by seasoned aviators like GIFT founder Mary Latimer. Mary has a long aviation career as an air traffic controller, corporate pilot, and flight instructor. She started GIFT a decade ago.
The real secret is the ladies coming together and sharing their stories, sharing their fears, and building each other up and having that confidence level and knowing that they're not the only one who's afraid of stalls. They're not the only one who struggle with figuring out weight and balance. They're not the only ones who are afraid of weather. And so just sharing those experiences, that is really what changes them.
And Naomi has been changed by the relationships with fellow aviators. Her best friend, Destiny J, is also at the camp, and the two are supporting each other as they learn to fly.
I would say if you are a female and you are considering aviation, 100% go into it, because you will meet people like her who will help you through every step of the way, no matter how hard it is and how many times I've cried many times. She's just listening to me.
Nervous breakdown.
Because it gets really hard sometimes, but you got to push through and think about the ultimate goal in the end.
And these lifelong friendships formed are what GIFT is all about. Women bringing other women along with them on the journey to accomplish their dreams.
And so it's just very empowering and life-changing for people.
Jill Tallman, AOPA Live.
The GIFT Academy takes place once a year. Next year, it will be in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And, it really was great to see those young women there, and you know what they say, you have to see it before you can be it.
Right.
And we know that as we're trying to increase diversity in aviation, we know so many people who don't have aviators in their background just don't realize that it's something that they can do. It's an opportunity for them.
Right. It really is achievable. And so it's great to see them recognizing that and then reaching out to others and already beginning to expand that network. So it's really nice. And Mary Latimer does great work. Really congratulations to her and the whole Gift Academy concept and the team that makes that happen around the country. It's really a wonderful experience for these young women and really great for the pilot population in general.
Indeed.
Right. Well, hey, coming up after the break, the first electric aircraft race.
And building airplanes on the family farm. We'll be back in a moment.
The future of USB charging power has arrived. Introducing new, ultra-fast charging TA360 USB chargers. Unlock the power of USB Power Delivery PD technology. Max power. Multiple configurations. In-seat cabin, cockpit, and galley USB power. Easy to install. Backed by the best. True Blue Power, the USB experts.
Welcome back. We're still hearing about the amazing adventures from EA Airventure of a couple of weeks ago. AOPA Associate Web Editor David Toulis shares his flight with the AeroShell aerobatic team.
It's not every day that you get to go flying with the AeroShell aerobatic team at Airventure, and I was fortunate to ride along in the slot pilot position with Jimmy Fordham. He's been with the team for 10 years, and he told me it was going to be the best seat in the house, and he was not kidding. It was awesome. We took off 2 by 2 from the runway, and then we rejoined kind of over Warbird Island, over Lake Winnebago, and then we did a loop, a wing over, and a barrel roll. It was completely awesome. You could see by the video that I was having the time of my life. Yeah! Sweet! But doing it with these guys in a North American T6 Texan was just phenomenal. They really put their heart and souls into it, and it's all about getting youngsters involved in aviation. That's the key way to get some of that interest in the younger crowd. Now, the question I had for Jimmy and for the AeroShell team was, how different was a daytime flight from a nighttime flight? Because they're really known for their nighttime air shows. They've got these LED lights that really light up the sky. And Jimmy said it really was no different at night versus the day, except for the rejoins. The rejoins can be a little tricky because of the perspective difference that you have at night. But they practice this all the time, and they are so smooth. I mean, it was like from one maneuver to the next, it was just a smooth transition, and it was just a spectacular week, and the exclamation mark on the whole deal.
Thanks, David, for sharing that. What an amazing experience. And if you're looking for another aviation event to go to in the near future, well, we happen to have one coming up. The first AOPA Aviator Showcase will be in Manassas, Virginia on August 27th. That's a Friday. The showcase will be much smaller and more intimate than some of the other AOPA events you may have been to recently. The consumer-focused event will connect pilots and aircraft owners with a variety of aviation businesses. The showcase features an exhibit hall, aircraft display, and educational seminars. It's all happening at the beautiful Chantilly Jet Center FBO at Manassas. Register for the event, it's required, and there is a $20 registration fee. Aircraft registration, however, is already sold out. So if you're planning to fly in, sorry, too late, but we'd still love to see you. You can still drive in and still register. So we'll look forward to seeing you there on wings or on wheels. So find out more about it on our websites.
And an impressive milestone for Angel Flight West. They just completed their 90,000th flight. Incredible. 90,000. I'm not sure I said it right the first time. The organization provides free air travel using GA airplanes for people with serious medical conditions. On the milestone mission, volunteer pilot John Lang transported a patient who was hospitalized with COVID-19 for 7 months. John flew her from the University of Washington Medical Center back to her home in Reno, Nevada in his TBM 700. Now you can find out how you can volunteer on the Angel Flight West website.
Now, you've probably heard about the electronic chip shortage that's occurring, affecting car manufacturing, car sales, consumer electronics, and now the supply chain issues have finally caught up with avionics for aircraft. That's what the Aircraft Electronics Association said about the latest quarterly avionics report. Overall, year-to-year avionics sales are down some 7.1% compared to 2020. AEA said that although the latest report shows a decline, the success of recent trade shows, along with resilient consumers, means there are still positive signs for the future. And the aircraft of the future will go head-to-head on the first electric aircraft race. The National Aeronautic Association seeks to recapture the magic of those golden era age races from the 1920s, and so it will resume the Pulitzer Air Races first held in the early 1920s. The race is 1,000 miles, starting in Omaha, Nebraska, ending at Dare County Regional Airport in North Carolina down near First Flight. Electric propulsion is a must for the airplanes. Electricity can be stored in any combination of batteries and hydrogen fuel cells. No word yet on how many airplanes will participate. Race registration opens in December.
Well, many pilots dream of owning their own airstrip, and it can be a lot of hard work to build and maintain, particularly if you don't live in the Flatlands. Now, AOPA Live's Paul Harrop caught up with a pilot who is living the dream, despite living in some challenging topography.
So we're back at the family farm.
Somewhere outside Zanesville with the Philo address and miles of rolling hills in every direction, you'll find Greg Swingle's high-flying homestead. It's been in his family for generations, but he's turned it into an airplane playground.
And I didn't want to drive to town to fly airplanes, so I had to find an airplane and a suitable field to fly out of.
So as Ohioans do, he got to work. He started building a Rans S7 before he even took his first lesson. After earning the ticket and finishing the airplane, he still had some work to do.
So this was the flattest field we had, the longest, flattest field we had on the farm.
It's narrow, it kind of does it's kind of got a valley in the middle, and then the approach end has some big mature trees that really kind of get your full attention. If you can ignore all that and just fly the airplane, then it's a pretty easy strip because it's hard to overrun. It's got a hill that you're kind of flying into that'll slow you down even if you're a little bit hot.
It's taken a long time to get to this quality.
A lot of grit, dirt work, and determination have made this an even better place to call home.
It was kind of funny though, because I did Alaska and did all this stuff, and then I came home and I got to my home strip, and it was the hardest strip I'd landed on in months, or I guess it was 6 weeks really.
And his next project is coming together, ready to be another airplane sprouting out of the Ohio bush. Paul Harrop, AOPA Live.
Greg's next airplane is a Rans S21 Outbound. You can find him on YouTube. Just search for Greg Swingle. And that strip was incredible, wasn't it?
Wow, he really did just carve that out of the pasture field there, but it looks like once you master it, it looks like it'd be a lot of fun.
It actually looked like some of the airstrips that we landed on in the Alps when we were in France, the altiports.
Yes, I've seen those, and those amazing videos are pretty amazing, airplanes landing there.
Yeah, where you land and then you go to full power so you can continue the taxi up to the top.
Yeah, very impressive, and in Ohio of all places.
Who'd have thought that Ohio was anything other than flat?
Right. Well, that's our show for this week. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you'd like to see more content from AOPA, check out our YouTube channel.
And please don't forget to comment, write, hit that like button, or write us at our email address on the screen there. And we'll be back again with another edition of AOPA Live this week, next Thursday.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.